Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. While we are covering the topic of spiritual warfare, I thought it would be good and timely to remind everyone of an entity that seems to be wreaking a lot of havoc right now in the e-celeb space, and that is of the Sonichu uh, entity. Now, obviously, a demon is manifesting itself as Sonichu, which comes from Chris Chan. I'm sure I don't need to go into Chris Chan and his lore or even explain to you what Sonichu is. I'm sure many of you by now have heard of Sonichu, and it could be one or multiple demons taking the form of this mix between Sonic the Hedgehog and Pikachu. And here we have iDubbbz. Now, this is when many believe that the Sonichu demons first shall we say, entered his life. And look at everything that's happened to him since then. We have Rekieta Law. He put on the Sonichu medallion. He put it on, and look what's happened there. Need I say more? Dick Masterson, there he is. Look at his face. I mean, you could almost see that just by holding the medallion, you could see that perhaps the demonic has begun to flow through his hand, and look at the expression on his face. It is very disturbing. This is really, I think, a scary image. Whoever drew this, by the way, shout out to you. You did a really good job here. But I mean, that's sort of like, yeah, Chris is delusional, and demons are really great at taking advantage of delusional people and convincing them that, they're real and powerful and special. So just to give you a little bit of information here, this comes from 4chan, of course. 13-year-old Chris gets abused by his teachers and principal to the point where his parents try to sue the school. He invents Sonichu for a school assignment, bizarrely passes with flying colors, and tells every other class. Sonichu gives, quote unquote, Chris an amethyst ring Chris believes contains his soul. Like, this is insanity. Chris cries during high school graduation for failing every class except the one where he invented Sonichu. Chris invents an alternate world called Quickville, where Sonichu and its friends are real and, quote, communicate with him via his thoughts. Sonichu tells Chris to make medallions in Sonichu's image. Think about that. In its image. Chris has worn one of them since and gave them to his friends and family. Sonichu commands Chris to create an attraction sign, which is an IRL advertisement to do things with Chris. Sonichu teaches Chris how to use harmful magical signs, which he uses on his college dean. Sonichu tells Chris to draw pornography of him doing things to a female friend. Sonichu tells Chris to drink his own substances as part of a black magic ritual, and put things in an inappropriate place. Chris refuses to go to church because, quote, Sonichu doesn't like it there. Guys, really. Sonichu commands Chris to attack a local manager who said he didn't exist. Like, we're laughing about this and it is funny, but it's also kind of not funny because, I mean, this is disturbing when it's laid out like this. Sonichu tells Chris he's a transgender lesbian now, despite Chris always being vehemently against that. Sonichu makes Chris mace a GameStop employee because Sega changed Sonic's design. Sonichu tells Chris to burn down his house. Chris's father dies shortly afterwards from a heart attack in the middle of the night. Chris starts literally hearing Sonichu's voice in his ear and seeing him IRL for the first time. Sonichu commands Chris to cut his crotch open with a rusty knife so he could give birth to Sonichu's child, quote unquote. Chris's dog dies, and Sonichu, quote, resurrected her for a day so Chris could send her off for good. Like, this is literally, it's demonic. Chris is now completely alone, except for his geriatric, dementia-ridden mother and Sonichu. Chris frequently dreams Sonichu and him are doing inappropriate things. He draws them in his dream journal as well, and that Sonichu is quote-unquote pregnant. Sonichu tells Chris to do inappropriate things to his mother. This was in 2016. Chris is reluctant. Sonichu tells Chris he is a goddess, quote-unquote, whose destiny is to unite his world and Sonichu's world via a dimensional merge. Chris is arrested for R-ing his mother for quote-unquote Sonichu. And of course, should be mentioned down here at the bottom, Chris believes Sonichu can and has possessed people, including himself, for over a year. Very disturbing, is it not? Now, I want to share this picture also. It's okay, Chris. You're special. Here's a Sonichu demon standing over a very disturbed current day Chris Chan. This is basically what it looks like today. And that's basically what the demons are telling him, who convinced him that Sonichu was a thing. By simply calling for the cursed Sonichu amulet to be sent to him and inviting in the demonic entity, Masterson may have already unwittingly become cursed. It makes sense because he's been radiating a deranged, desperate energy ever since he called for the demon. Well, of course, you don't actually have to receive the Sonichu medallion to be possessed by the demons. That's not how demonic influence works. I mean, you don't have to possess any kind of medallion for them to influence you at all.
Did you have anything to do with Nick Rekieta?
We're watching Irate Gamer interrogate a Sonichu medallion?
Did you have anything to do with iDubbbz? If you're hanging around that necklace, spike one of those meters now. I command you.
Well, the demons are just laughing because I don't believe that he's an Orthodox Christian, you know, so he's not going to be able to interrogate it properly. The face when you look more demonic than Sonichu. Oh. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough, guys. And, you know, look, this stuff is very real. I mean, can anyone argue with what was just presented? You've seen the victims of the Sonichu entity. Numerous victims at this point. Lives destroyed because of this creature. Look at it. Behold the victims. And then ask yourself if you ever doubt whether demonic possession is real. All right, guys, that's it for now. Have a good day.